Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Carla from People's Union of South Asia, and I'm here with the wonderful Samir Gupta to speak about what's happening in that part of the world. Anyone is welcome to join us. We're just chatting away. And I actually had a thought on my mind, Samir, but I didn't tell you, so it's going to be a little bit of a shock, but that's how life goes. I'd like to spend a little time talking about mindset. And do we create our world, or is our world creating our thoughts? And I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. Feel free to join us. The link is above the title, and I will also put it in the chat in a few moments while Samir is talking. And we will get this show on the road. Samir, introduce
Yeah,
yourself.
that's a very interesting question, Carla. It's the question that it's about fish and water. Um, you know, what the environment we live in has a massive impact on the way we think, don't we? I mean,
Yeah.
uh, you know, almost everything I know and I believe and I speak about is from a point of view that I have inherited. And it's a point of view, right? I have a point of view about life. And almost everything I have and I know comes from that point of view. However, at the same time, I can create a new reality. And I can do that if I can speak powerfully enough. Something that Gandhi did or Jinnah did, right? Gandhi created a new reality called you can get whatever you want in life through nonviolence. He created a reality that the weak can actually use their own resolve and moral superiority to successfully fight the strong. That was a new reality. You know, when Martin Luther King, he created a new reality. He created a completely new world. So yes, what you and I think about, what you and I say, is driven by whatever we inherit. But at the same time, human beings have this unique ability to create completely new realities in the world out there, which is what we are doing. Which is what we are doing. Which is what people like Rehan, Alawala, and many others. That's what they're doing. They're creating a reality that Indians and Pakistanis can be great friends. Now, if we go back to the narrative that the government should have us live inside of, that seems unlikely. But every now and then, we have these events like the one we are in right now, where people come together and they discover what binds us, not just what divides us. So that's the answer to your question.
Well, can we take it a little further? When
Sure.
we're talking about this reality, can we shift the negativity to positivity? Can we change our own belief system?
Yes. And, the way to do that is to actually stand for the commitment and at the same time share the new reality, share the vision powerfully enough so that the people that you're sharing it with get it. Like they get it as if it is something that is their vision. Like they take it on, and that is possible. What it takes is it takes empathy. It takes an ability to stand in other people's shoes and to discover what it is that is going to inspire all humanity, right? What is common between a Pakistani and an Indian? And as long as you can speak to that commonality, as long as you can speak to that connection, you can create brand new realities for human beings.
And right, and that's the important thing. We can create what our world is. Our
And what is
world
the vision of it?
doesn't our world doesn't create us.
Actually, it works both ways, Kala. That's what I'm saying. The world creates us as the point of view we are, and at the same time, you and I have the power of creating new empowering futures.
So what do we want to create in the world?
Oh, I'm clear. I want to create a world of love and connection. That's what my life is about. Where people can relate to each other, where they can go beyond the identities that divide us, where we can experience connection and we can come together and we can create this one, one people, irrespective of religion, country, whatever other identity divides us. Hello, welcome.
Thank you.
We have the wonderful Victor, and I'm going to change your name to your real name here, who is from Los Angeles. You're from Los Angeles, right, Victor?
You keep saying that. It's California, Sacramento, the capital of California, Sacramento.
Ah,
I don't know why I keep on thinking LA, but I
Because
do.
I'm a Hollywood personality. That's why when I come on, you think Hollywood. It's an
Right,
honest mistake.
right. It's an honest mistake. Anyway, we have Victor here, who was one of my speakers for the English conference last week. And he is also one of my new Mindful people. And he is also a Toastmaster. And I am so thrilled to have him here today. So, and we also have Huang, who I'm bringing up on stage. And people remember we're in StreamYard, so you need to mute your mic if you're not talking, otherwise it goes off weird. And make sure your Facebook pages are closed out. And make sure you also, if you're not speaking, share this out to your friends and family and friends to be. And having said that, Victor, we began the conversation, or I began the conversation asking, does the world create our thoughts? No, let me say it again. Do we create our world by our thoughts, or do our thoughts create our world? And I'd like your
Unequivocally,
thoughts.
unequivocally, we create our world by our thoughts. We create ourselves by our thoughts. Our thoughts are in charge. Period. End of story. It's not even open for discussion. Viktor Frankl wrote a book many years ago called Man's Search for Meaning. And what that book did was it told of Viktor Frankl's experience in a concentration camp. I mean, imagine whatever difficulties you have in your life, whatever things you're working on a regular basis, it cannot be as earth shattering as being in a concentration camp, not knowing from 1 minute to the next whether you're going to be alive. And in that experience, he told a lot of things. But the number one thing I got from that book was when he said, no one can make anyone think anything that they don't want to think. No one can make anyone think anything that they don't want to think. So the people that from time to time commit heinous acts or do things that we wish they wouldn't do, it is because of what they are thinking. And so when we communicate with other people, it's important that we communicate what we're thinking. It's important that we do our best to influence people to think the way that we think. Because really and truly, we're all selfish, every single one of us. And every single one of us has something that they want to gain from every single thing that they do. The world is composed of billions of people just like us that have a mind just like ours that are thinking things, right? And what they are thinking is influenced by what they see, hear, touch, taste, and smell for sure. But they are the ones, we are the ones that's deciding what we're going to think. And what we think about, we bring about. I probably say that every day of my life. What you think about, you bring about. So if you are not feeling like you enjoy feeling, chances are it's because there's something that you're thinking. So I say grab a hold of those thoughts and think good things. Like myself, one idea I have is that if we would mind other people's business less and mind our business more, and just really take care of our business and do the things that we have control over, then other people might get the hint and they might start doing the same thing. And thereby, slowly but surely, we can change the world.
That's a great place to stand, Victor. Very responsible place to stand. And mind you, it's all about human beings. It's always about where I stand. And you're absolutely right. If I stood at, I have the steering wheel of my life in my hands, then I do, because I am who I say I do. So thank you very much. I mean, it's a great, it's an absolutely fantastic point of view in life.
I wasn't always like this. There was a time when every morning I woke up, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm still here. It felt terrible. It felt horrible. When people said things to me, the following day I did something based on what they said. When somebody said something different to me, the following day I did something what they said. It was like an up and down yo-yo, living my life, trying to do the things that other people suggested or that other people criticized me for. But you know what? There's only one expert on Victor Irving Jenkins, just one. There's only one expert on Samir Gupta. There's only one expert on Carla Reichman. There's only one expert on Dr. Nguyen, and that is each and every one of us. Now, we could take input from other places, but at the end of the day, this malady that we have of judging other people by what they do and judging ourselves by what we intended to do, that's going to get us every time. But still, there's only one expert on me, and that's who I have to rely on. Me and, of course, God, because my vertical relationship is intact. I talk to God every day, several times during the day, and He guides me. And yeah, that doesn't matter what anyone else think God is or doesn't think God is. Once He tells me I'm cool, and He doesn't always tell me that, then I'm going to be cool.
You are cool. That's why she thinks you're from Hollywood.
How you like my shirt? Red, white, and blue. Stars and stripes forever.
Absolutely, absolutely, jing bang.
We can't deny that our feelings control us. Now, there are some analytical types that think, well, I don't do anything based on my feelings. I figure things out and I do things as they're supposed to be. I do. I speak when I'm supposed to, and I don't speak when I'm supposed to, and I do what I'm supposed to, and everything makes sense to me. If it doesn't, if two and two doesn't equal, yeah, well, you know what? The only reason you're even saying that is because of how you feel about saying it. So we live through our feelings. So our feelings are a pretty good guide. If you're not feeling good, you're probably not doing the right thing. Probably. And if you're not doing the right thing and you have a goal to do the right thing, then perhaps you should change what you're feeling. And mind you, everything I'm saying to you is just what I think, right? You can reject it or accept it and have it help you or hurt you. It's really up to you. But as far as I'm concerned, it's golden, golden.
Yeah. And as long as you live from that, and as long as you ignore everything else that tells you otherwise, you're doing great.
And I'm not going to hurt anybody. I'm not going to hurt you. Unless,
Sure.
unless you think listening to my voice hurts you. If listening to my voice hurts you, you got a big problem because I'm never going to stop talking.
God, we got Dr. Huang there.
I found I found out that you never stopped talking a few weeks ago. But that's one of the wonderful things about you, Victor. You are so vivacious, really wordy, but what the words you bring to the table are very important words. And you brought up a point that I usually don't go into here, but I'm going to ask you anyway today. Doesn't God live inside of us instead of outside of us?
Yes, he absolutely does live inside of us and outside of us. However, he gave us this thing, and this thing that he gave us allows us to communicate with him. And that thing is called your mind. I recently came to the conclusion that, when you talk about good and evil, well, what if there was only one power and that power was good, and the evil that you experience comes from the improper use of how you are perceiving whatever the thing is? And if we can help people understand that their mind really, apart from everything else that it does, their mind is used to connect with God. Because God He's going to give you whatever is on your mind. And you hear people talking about they pray and they don't get answers. Well, the way that God knows what you want is by what's on your mind. And you choose what's on your mind. Now, if you're thinking about the maladies of the world and how terrible the world is and how this shouldn't happen and how that shouldn't happen and how it's making you feel poorly and you don't enjoy it and you wish it would stop, if that's what's on your mind, God thinks that's what you want, because to him, he doesn't have any idea about what's good and bad. God just is, right? And if that's what's on your mind, he figure, oh, is that what you want? Here's some more. And then you get some more of it and you wonder why why it's not going away. Well, it's not going away because that is what's on your mind. So yes, God is everywhere and everything. And the only way that is not good, if you're not experiencing the goodness of God, it's not because of the devil, it's cause of what you got in here. And I know that might not be good news for some people, but that's how I see it.
What do you think? Well, let's go to Huang and I'll come back to Samir. Huang, please introduce yourself, number one, and then tell us your views on this question of whether our thoughts come to us or do we create them. Did I say that correctly? Okay, Huang. The mic
Well,
is.
that's what you asked me was, does our thought create our world, or does our world create our thoughts?
Thank you, Victor. I am great at creating the first question, but when it goes on to the next person, I need someone to remind me what exactly it is. Huang, it's all yours now.
Hi. Thank you so much for giving me a chance to talk and such amazing questions. Okay. I'm very happy to be here today. Yep. So my name is Hương. Yes, please call me Hương. I'm from Vietnam, and right now I'm living and working in Việt Trì City. That's away from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam, about 100 kilometers in the northern part of Vietnam. And I have been teaching marketing, economics, and doing international business for more than 16 years. Yes, nice meeting you. And here, Mr. Samir and Kala, right? And new member, Mr. Victor, right? Yes, thank you. And come back to the question, like our thoughts create the world, or our world create our thoughts, right? Yes, from my perspective, I think that our thoughts create our world. The way we see our world. Yes, that's up to you. Depend on your knowledge, your experience, and the way you are seeing uh, participant people around us, right? And even yourself. Yeah, everything in the mindset. If you think that something is still not good, so from in the mind, so you have to change it. So you are creating the world around you. If you see everything, yeah, positively, it's going to be better in the future. So it's going affect you positively. As why yes, it's come worse, right? And also, when we are friendly, we are open-minded to the world, so the world will be treating you well. So that's why different situation, different context, but up to you. If you solve it in a good way, it will be better in the future. If you see it negatively, so it will solve it worsely. I think so. Yep. Thank you so much.
Okay, Samir, you may talk again now.
Thanks, Kalas. I think, look, thank you very much, Victor and Huang, for what you said. Broadly agree with what you're saying. And then, for me, there are two ways of living this world. You can be in a river and throw your arms to the left and the right, and let the river take you where you want to go, or wherever the river is taking you. And you can swim, and if you can swim, you can go whichever way you want. You want to go down the river, you can go to the left, you can go to the right, you can even go upstream. So you're absolutely right. It is possible. It is, I as a human being, I can choose to be driven by the world out there and be the victim, or I can take charge of my life and drive it the way I want to. There's a choice in life. That's what I think. That's how I see it.
But Samir, when you are making those choices, do you choose the positive or do you choose the negative? And depending on that choice, where does it take us?
So look, you and I are always choosing every single moment. The choice is always there. The choice is always between going with the flow or pursuing the future that you and I want to pursue. Quite often, what we do is we go with the flow. And quite often, as Victor said, what you and I do is, we give in to our own thoughts, the survival thoughts. We give in to the reptile inside of us, and then you get survival, and you get evil, or you get negativity, or whatever you call it. And and that's one way of living it. And at the same time, as Victor said, and his motto in life is, I'm going to swim the way I want to swim. I'm going to be the one who's going to choose whatever empowers me in life, whatever it is that I want in life. And it's great. That's a very powerful way of living it. So you're making a choice whether you choose to live as a victim or you choose to live as somebody who's in charge. Always making a choice.
Victor, you look like you have something to say. Not
I
that you
always have
never.
something.
Come
my
on.
my work this year is being centered on an ability to not interrupt people. That was my modus operandi for the longest time. But people don't like to be interrupted. And one of the reasons that I used to interrupt people is because I'm thinking all the time as they're talking to me, and I felt that I had to say what I wanted to get out as though it was going to disappear. But it's not going to disappear. So I've learned, even in my interpersonal relationships in person, when someone's finished talking, I always wait a couple of seconds. But while you were talking, I got to thinking about this woman that I was studying. I studied from many different areas, but her name is Byron Katie. And one thing that Byron Katie said is that it's not really what's going on that's bugging us or that's difficult. It is actually our thoughts around what's going on that stresses us out. So she developed this program. If you have a thought that stresses you out, like take for instance, a very unpopular thought: America is a racist country. We've all heard that. We've all read that, right? Byron Katie says that whether or not that's true, your difficulty is your thoughts around that. So she says that when your thoughts stress you out, question the thoughts. Because even when you have a thought, you don't have to believe your thought. Now, she's got these 4 questions that she's developed that's really earth shaking. Think about the thought that's stressing you out. And this is billions of people on the earth having thoughts that stress them out. So what I'm suggesting is that if they manage it a little bit more like how I manage it, they'd be in better shape. So question number 1, is it true? Now consider some thoughts that stress you out while you're here on this podcast. Just think about it for a bit. Some thoughts that you have that stress you out. Number 1 question, is it true? Okay. And number 2 question, how can you know it's true? So if you decided that whatever the stressful thought was true, how can you know it's true? How can I know America is racist? I mean, really, how could I possibly know that? I couldn't know that. I'm just one guy with a small portion of the world I'm living in. Question number 3. Who would you be? How would you feel? What would be your life if you did not have that thought? Who would you be if you didn't think that? Is what she's asking. Who would you be if you didn't think that America was a racist country? Who would you be if you didn't think whatever thoughts that you have that's stressing you out? Who would you be? And then after you answer that question, the final question: how much longer do you think that you ought to go on having that thought? No, it's a powerful. She calls them the work. She calls them the work. And I challenge anybody to take any stressful thought that they have and put it in that framework, and you're going to come out doing what she says is her motto, which is loving what is. Loving what is. Because see, whatever is, you better love it, because if you don't, it's gonna stress you out. So this question about does thoughts create the world, or does the world create thought? Yeah, the world has some impact on what you think, but really, you choose what you believe, not the world. I just love this.
I love it too. I don't know if this topic is a great topic for this forum, but I love the conversation. Halong, what do you think?
Yes, that's so interesting sharings as well. I love that. And we are all unique and special in life, right? But we have a lot of imperfections as well. And as I have said in many conferences, that how we can notice ourselves by communicating, by talking with people, we can realize ourselves with some mistake we make in life and imperfection as well. So we can improve ourselves better. Yes, and being as a teacher in economics in my country here, we always compare between loss and gain. Yeah, which one we win loss, how much we win loss, and which thing we win gain, like opportunity cost to be better, to improve in life. Yes, so we have to be ready to be failure, to fail and to get lost. Yes, of course, but we can be better in the future. Yeah, by like by paying costs. Yep, of course, impossible when we don't want to pay costs, but we want to gain everything. No, it's impossible. Nothing is free for everything, right? So we have to make efforts. We have to spend time. We have to work hard to have things we wish we want. That's of course. That's from my perspectives. Thank you.
हेलो
Kala, unmute yourself, Kala.
Happens in Clubhouse, it happens here, it happens all over. I forget to unmute myself. Have you been listening to the conversation, Jay? I haven't seen you in a long time, and introduce yourself and I'll bring you into the conversation. We're happy to have you. And remember, only one person can stay unmuted at a time, including me.
Okay, thank you, Darla, for inviting me once again on this show. I am really privileged to have you here.
Do you have your Facebook page open? No. There's
No.
noise in your background. Can you get into a quiet room? Okay.
Okay, I think now it's better.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's been a really pleasure to be here on your show. Whenever I join your show, every time I learn many things. As I introduced myself earlier, but today there are many new members here. I would like to introduce myself once again. I am Jay Patel from India. I am working in a research and development unit in one of the biggest pharmaceutical company in India. We are the people who conducting clinical trials on humans and developing a vaccine for clinical trials on human being. This is my job, my profession. I love to talk with people around the world. That is my hobby. And I have many different hobbies like sports, music, and many more. So this is about my short introductions. Thank you.
Just a learning point. Do you need to say it's your short introduction, or if you were going to a party, would you say, "Hi, Halong, I'm so happy to meet you. I am Jay," and then this is my short introduction?
Of course. Actually, Hong, I know Hong very well. She is the one who invite me in her show, and she is the one invite me here also. You can say that I can say like that way when we are talking with friends, but being as a formal introductions, I can say like this way, like formal way.
You don't need to say it at all. That's the
Thank
point,
you.
because you just introduced yourself. And it's a teaching point for everyone. I always teach that because it's not necessary. Now, we were talking about, and maybe I should have Victor say the question because I always tend to botch it up. I'm going to let Victor say the question because he'll say it perfectly. But basically, we're talking about whether the world creates our thoughts or do our thoughts create our world. Victor, and then we'll go to Jay right away.
I think you articulated the question perfectly. There's nothing for me to say. I'll just listen to what Jay has going on.
Great. Jay, the mic
Sure.
is yours.
Okay. So the question is like that way, whether your thoughts create the world or world creates our thoughts, something like that, right? Okay. So usually, we will create our world around our thoughts. That's my perspective. I might be wrong in this case, and that is also, you can say, 50-50. It's a balance, right? uh, you are staying in such kind of world, you are surrounded by that kind of positive or negative energy. You will create yourself accordingly. But if you have very good thoughts, by reading some good, you can say, books, or you are watching some good positive video, you can create your own world, which can change some. If there might be some negative energy surrounding you, around your world, so you have that kind of power to change it, right? So that's my perspective. You can change your world with your thoughts, but you should not follow with the world with your thoughts. So according to me, it's better to change the world with your thoughts, specifically the positive way. If your if your world surrounded by negative energy, but if your world is surrounded by positive energy, you should grab that energy and you should change yourself. Thank you.
Okay, Samir, do you want to add something to this?
Yes, I think it's a. I mean, obviously, different people have different points of view. Um, as far as I'm concerned, you know, I don't care what the truth is, as long as it is something that empowers me. you know, and if it is like what Victor said is fantastic, it is something that gives him power. Absolutely loved what he said. You know, if what Huang said empowers her and has her translate her vision of what's going to work for her and her city and a country. Fantastic, Wong. Let's go with it. Who knows what the truth is? God, it doesn't matter as long as it's something that makes me happy, makes people around me happy. Great.
So, should we all have negative things thrown at us. Should we focus on the positive or should we focus on the negative when it comes down to it in the world? Yes, Samir.
There's something wonderful Victor said earlier. Um, the universe amplifies whatever is occupying your mind space, right? If you're focused on the negatives or what is not working and everything else that's going the way you don't want it to go, it will get amplified. If you can free up your mind space and actually think about what is it that you want to accomplish in life, that's what's going to express itself in the world out there. It's that simple, really. That's what I think.
Okay, Victor, I know had something to say right now, and then we'll go around and I'll give my thoughts.
The truth, like you said a moment ago, the truth is not nearly as important as what it is that you believe about the truth, because it is what you believe that's actually going to impact your world. It's not what's happened yesterday or what's happening now. All those things, they impact your life, but they don't impact your life in the direct way that you think. They impact your life by making you believe what it is that you believe. Because it really is what you believe that's making your life like how it is. It has been said by trainers all over the world, all through time, that selling is the superior skill. Now, by selling, I don't mean a product or a service for money. I mean an ability to impact what someone else believes. See, if you believe what it is that you believe passionately, ferociously, and you just are on fire with what you believe, you won't have to make anybody else believe it. They will just believe it. So if you think that you got it right, and you think that the way that you see it is a good way to look at it, then do it with passion, Carla. Do it with zeal. And when you do it with zeal, that is how you impact the world. Because many people are not tuned into the fact that their thoughts control them. A lot of people don't get the impact that their subconscious minds have over their habitual thought. They just don't get it. And so these people have lives just like yours and mine, and these people do things and don't do things. So if someone is, shall we say, drifting through life, if someone is just going along with the flow, just doing what they see everybody else does, you put your fire out there. You be excited about what you believe. Be passionate about what you think. And believe it or not, one by one, slowly but surely, it'll start to catch on. These things that are ubiquitous in our culture now started with one person doing it. This whole idea of political correctness that people complain about, when I was a boy, there was no such thing as political correctness. So sometime between the time me being a boy and right now, somebody came up with the idea of political correctness, and then somebody else bought it, and then somebody else bought it, and then somebody else bought it, and now political correctness is ubiquitous. And that's really how you impact the world. You want peace in the world, get peace in your heart. Get peace in your heart to the degree that other people want to get peace in their heart. I'll end with the quote. If there's no enemy within, you, me, everybody else, if there's no enemy within, then the enemy without can't hurt you. Really.
I love that, Victor. But let me add something that I'd like you to speak about. Often there is an enemy within, and that enemy is the person who says, maybe your positive thought is, I want $1,000 by the end of the day. And then someone inside says, you can't do that. That's impossible. And who do you listen to? Do you shut off the person who doesn't believe? Or do you decide to choose to believe?
If you want the $1,000, you've got to choose to believe. And I bring up a point about belief. See, because some people talk about evidence and proof and all this sort of thing. Some of the things that we do today on a regular basis, people didn't do before. And at one time, people thought that it wasn't possible to do those things. Who would ever think that there'd ever be a place where I could talk to someone in India without going to India? Whoever thought where it'd be I could talk with Carla without being with Carla? So those ideas were impossible some time ago. But when it comes to belief, your belief will create the environment that you need in order for your thoughts to come to pass. So, no, you believe the person that says you can do it, and you do it with all your might, and you do it with all the ferocity that you can muster, and it will come to pass. You cannot allow anything. There's a piece that Walter D. Wattles wrote from the book The Science of Getting Rich. And although he was talking about the science of getting rich, he really was talking about the science of the mind. But here's what he says. There is a thinking stuff of which everything is made, and which in its original form penetrates, permeates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that's imaged by the thought. Man can form things in his thoughts, and by impressing his thoughts against formless substance, he can cause the thing that he thinks about to be created. In order to do this, man must first pass from the competitive to the creative mind. He must form a clear mental picture of that thing that he wants. Hold that picture in his mind with the fixed purpose that he's going to get what he wants, closing his mind to all that would tend to dim his vision, shake his purpose, or quench his faith. And in addition to all that, man must do things in a certain way. So you want $1,000 by the end of the day, believe it, and it shall come to pass.
Do I need to know where it's coming from?
No, you do not need to know where it's coming from. That's a whole other direction. But no, you don't need to know where it's coming from. Your job is to hold it in your mind, closing your mind to anything that would dim your vision, quench your faith, or destroy your good. Dim his vision, quench his faith, right.
And the important thing here is you need to believe it.
Right.
You can't say, you can't say, I want it, and then I don't know how I'm going to get it. Forget about how you're going to get it and just want it. Samir, you look like you want to say something.
Yes, so there's something very interesting here. So what I want to add to that is, yes, context is decisive. Uh, you know, if you're looking for the $1,000 because you grew up in poverty and you want to compensate for it, that creates a different world from I want $1,000 as a self-expression, as a way of expressing myself in the world. It does make a difference. However, I also want to say quite often we get into analysis paralysis, right? So what you and I do is we think too much, we analyze it too much, we try to understand it too much. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. You know, like Victor said, I want $1,000 and I have no clue how I'm going to get it. But as long as it is something that I have right front and center, and as long as it is something that gives me a yummy feeling, not a yucky feeling, it gives me a yummy feeling. It's something that I'm passionate about. It's not something that I am compensating for something in order to, but it is something that gives me passion. It gives me self-expression. Then, oh my God, you'll find a way. You will find a way to get that $1,000. There is no way in the world you wouldn't.
Thank you, Samir. We're coming back to you, Victor, but I want to hear Huang and Jay and then back to you, and then we are getting ready to finish this. Huang, my financial expert.
Thank you so much for your appreciation. Yes. Uh, from my side, yes. So there are a lot of things in life can hold me back, even you and other people as well. Yeah, say like big barriers and hurdles in life, a lot of obstacles. But I do believe that when we challenge ourselves, we can be better in the future. But of course, being like a teacher and an economist, I always have to come down from the cloud. I mean, like we can compare, we think we have to pay how much cost we have to pay to gain that kind of benefit, right? And also we have to make it come true. Yeah, how to make plan it, otherwise people will love when and stay at us, right? And also it's easier said than done. Like we just talk, but we never put it into practice, or we never make a plan to do it. So how we can have it, right? We have to sacrifice. We have challenged ourselves. We have to make efforts. We have to dedicate, work hard as well to have that. And nobody can levy on our dreams. Yeah, why we are not able to move our comfort zones. A lot of things scare us, but the thing here, you have to overcome yourself, right? Yes, so that's why from my side, yes, minimize risk and reduce cost to have benefit, to have gains. Of course, we have to balance it. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Huang. Jay.
Yes, actually, very good example given by Victor and Hong. I would like to add on few more example related to working profile which I am working for. Right. So in this world, there is opportunity and there is something kind of, you can say, the need, opportunity and need. There is a difference, right? So right now in this kind of pandemic, every scientist, they don't know how to make a vaccine, right? So first of all, they need to believe in themselves, so we can able to develop a vaccine against this COVID-19. So being as a scientist, I can give you this kind of example, right? If you don't have belief, how can you able to make how can you able to generate a kind of data which can able to market the vaccine right now? you know this is kind of emergency situations. You never know what kind of regulation you need to go through. You might be feel like that way, a negative way, but the people who get vaccinated, they might have very serious adverse events also, right? So usually first thing is that the scientists, they have their own belief. They they done their homework. They already doing the things which they are doing for other viruses, but this is something different, right? So nobody know what happen in future. So for that, first of all, that they need to think positively. They have their own ideas and they put up their ideas in reality. So all these things come together, and that's why we have vaccine right now in our hand, and we can save this world, right? So this is not only vision for one person. This is vision of the team, right? If you have a good people in your team with proper vision, with positive attitude, you can achieve your goal, right? So this is the first example related to the current pandemic situations. And yes, you can say that if somebody is there in their comfort zone, he or she might be not want to come out from their comfort zone. This is kind of situations, this is a very critical situations. Usually people not identify this kind of vaccine. There are so many different kinds of virus right now in this world, but nobody cares. But the person who come up with this kind of idea, let me discover this vaccine, let me try find out the solutions, let me give the solution to the world. Initially he might facing so many challenges, but he never let his thoughts down. He never discouraged. Okay. So this is the thing which required for each and every human being, each and every individual. If we can able to develop this kind of passion in our job, whatever we were doing, we have to do our best more than 100%. So you will definitely see the outcome. You will definitely enjoy the success. That's what is all about. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. I'm really excited. This ended up being a very interesting meeting. Wouldn't you agree, Samir, who is supposedly my co host?
Yes, absolutely. I think it was great listening to Victor speak with so much passion and what he said, and Dr. Huang. And I mean, I think there's a general agreement around here, but I think, I mean, I got enriched in this conversation. It it gives me a bit more belief about myself. And it was great to have a nice, empowering conversation.
I've been listening a lot to Abraham Hicks, and I did some this morning, and it kind of put me in the mood. Victor, you must have some words that you want to leave us with, and you have a few minutes to do that.
Well, it's time limited at the moment, and really and truly, I always have something to say. But in this particular instance, it's best to leave people. Let's just to leave you curious about what else I got to say, because I got a lot to say, and I'm committed to the way that I think and the way that I believe, and I look at it in terms of the decision to look at a river full of drowning people. You could be overwhelmed by the fact that you can't save them. And you know you can't save a river full of drowning people. But you can take one. You can take one person out of there, it'll be one less person drowning. And that's kind of how I operate, because as many things as people are concerned about, there's no huge solution that's just going to poof, no matter how much you believe, because the mind doesn't work that way. There's nothing that's going to go poof and make everything go away. But if you can impact the way that individuals approach their decisions one by one, you can then recreate a situation like I've talked about political correctness. You know, political correctness is ubiquitous, but that's not the only concept. That's not the only strategy that'll work in life. In fact, I think there's other ones that'll work much better. So if I can impact people to choose being a victor as opposed to being a victim. Just imagine a world full of victors and victors and victors and victors instead of what we have now, which is an environment where a lot of people see themselves as being victims. They see themselves as being marginalized. And whether they are marginalized, who's marginalizing them? Who is victimizing them? Well, in point of fact, they might be doing it to themselves. So one by one, let's empower people. Let's share what we believe. Let's be passionate about what we believe. And over the long haul, I think we can make a difference, because we're certainly not going to make a difference by being overwhelmed by it all. And that's the memo.
Thank you, Victor. What's very interesting in what you said made me think of why Rayhan and I decided to do this in the beginning. It was to help people. It started with English only. And I started talking to loads of people in English on the English show. And he came back to me. He said, Carla, why don't we start an interview series and see what happens then? Because you'll be talking to individuals for a longer time in English. And you will be growing. You'll learn about Pakistan and different areas of the world, as well as the other person. And we began my interview series. And as you know, it snowballed into the Ministry for English Literacy. But all of this happened because we had the vision of connecting the world. And then People's Union of South Asia started because we wanted to connect India and Pakistan. Do you want to say anything before we end, Samir?
No, thank you. I think it was a real pleasure being here, and maybe Victor, we can connect outside of this platform. Thank you very much.
If you
My
want,
pleasure.
Samir, if you want, I can make that connection for you too.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that'll be great. Thank you.
I'll
And
certainly
go on.
no, I just said I would welcome it myself.
And having said that, we have come to an end of People's Union of South Asia for this month. We'll be back next month with another Union of South Asia. And maybe these guys will also come to Planet Union later this month. And see you soon. And can we wave goodbye? And the kids come to the English show in an hour. Okay, bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Victor.